How do they do it? Why do they do it? Riding and crashing and riding and winning and always faster and faster.
Welcome back everybody to With Antone MotoGP 2026. Look, I've had many comments saying, talk about 27 later in the year. It's a long way off. But if you're a MotoGP rider and you're looking at a new contract, it really is not far away at all. The rider market for 2027 will be decided in the first 3 to 5 races of this season, not at the end of the season. So today I want to slow down a little bit because decisions about who's going to sign who don't occur in one race day, they take time. Today I want to look at Ducati and most importantly, the decision in the next 5 years. What will they do? Who will they sign? Who will be on the factory red bike for 2027? Look, there's an assumption before we get into this episode, and for this conversation, I'm going to assume that Marc Marquez stays on the Ducati. That simplifies everything because now it isn't about who's going to replace him, it's about that second red seat. So today, it's all about the second red seat. So the real question isn't who Ducati wants. The question is who Ducati can afford to be wrong about. Okay, the 2027 red Ducati shortlist. The way I see it here on With Antone MotoGP, it's a 3-way race, nothing more than that. You've got peccobagnaia, Mr. Go Free, the logical choice, but no longer untouchable. He's a 2-time world champion and he understands better than anyone what Ducati's about. He's proven over a full season of racing and he's proven in title pressure, but in 2025 his season unraveled. He started complaining about the bike and he lost the plot, failing to finish 6 out of the last 7 GPs. He's also proven that he can't handle Marc Marquez in the same pit box. He can't work with him. His leverage really is going to depend on how he starts this season. Pre-season testing and, of course, how does he maintain his peak performance as he enters the season. The key question for me about Pecco, is Pecco the option, the best option for a new era, or a rider who's past his performance peak? Does he really believe he should stay at Ducati as he's saying in the media? But one thing's for sure, when teams stop talking about guarantees and start talking about options, something has already shifted. And at this level, the testing and everything he does from now on will be critical in the decision that Ducati make. The wild card for Ducati, I think, is Fabioquartararo. Fabioquartararo's name keeps coming up in conversations, and I think the Ducati interest is real in Fabio. It's not media noise. Yamaha, the signals from Yamaha suggest that the relationship is weakening, and really that might be a change for Fabio. He might choose to step off the Yamaha. So what does Fabio offer? Well, he's fast. He's really fast. He has a completely different riding style, and his reference on a new bike will be helpful. He has a proven ability to win if he's on the best bike, but he's got some risks. He's used to being the #1 rider in a team, and can he handle the change of that? Can he adapt to Ducati's data-driven structure? Now look, Ducati don't like criticism, and really, if you look at the last 2 years, Fabio's been criticising a lot. And really, he is not a development rider, so this is not in his favour. But strategically, he offers Ducati something that most other riders don't offer. If Ducati sign him, they are taking away a major threat. Another manufacturer can't get Fabio. Okay, let's talk about the third rider in the race, the long-term play, pedroacosta. Now, one thing, Pedro, is it's not about right now. It's about 5 years. Multiple paddock sources have already reported and claimed that he has reached an agreement with Ducati already. But we've got no official confirmation, of course. But Ducati see Acosta as a generational talent, a rider who can define the next rules era. But there's some risks that I think Ducati should consider. He's still developing as a rider. He can be volatile, and we've seen that with KTM. And he's still learning how to win a championship in the MotoGP. He is still learning how to win a race. Excuse me, he hasn't even won a race yet. But for me, the key question is, do Ducati want stability next to Marc, or are they going to plan for succession from Marc? There's one part of this I think we need to discuss, and I'm calling this the Italian equation. Does Ducati Red want both riders who are not Italian? Can they accept two Spanish riders or a Spanish-French connection? And of course, one more real important question. Can Ducati be trusted with what they are going to do? Look, the short answer is, for me, they can't be trusted. The answer is no. And that's not a criticism of Ducati. This is how dominant organisations behave when they hold all the leverage. Let's look at the Jorgemartin lesson. 2024, he was promised the factory red seat, but they gave it to Bastianini. 2025 as world champion, reportedly he'd already had the red leather suit made, fitted, and it was hanging up in the truck. And he was told that if Marc says no, then you get the deal. But the deal disappeared. Now, verbal assurances with Ducati mean nothing. Performance is necessary, but never sufficient. Now, factory Ducati politics. Look, Ducati have reversed course on supplying a factory spec bike to Aldeguer for 2026. This was originally, it was understood, it was in his deal when he came across, that in his second year he'd get a factory spec bike if he performed well. Well, Rookie of the Year, I'd suggest he has performed well. And what this also means is Aldeguer is now out of the running to be on that red bike for 2027. So where does this really leave Ducati for 2027? In my mind, Ducati's decision will not be about fairness, seniority, or past titles. It's going to be about, one, who best complements Marc Marquez. Two, who gives Ducati the best technical feedback under the new rules. And three, who can carry the brand for 5 years. Look, Marc's not going to ride forever and he will retire. So, some closing thoughts. Ducati is ruthless because it can afford to be ruthless. 2027 will expose whether that ruthlessness builds dynasties or eventually fractures the very dominance they've created. So do you think Ducati already knows who that second rider is for 2027? Yes, or at least they think they do. Why don't you let me know who you think they're going to sign? If Ducati wants stability through a regulation reset, then Pecco makes the most sense. Plus, he's Italian. But if Ducati is thinking about the next 5 years ahead, not just 1 or 2, then pedroacosta becomes very hard to ignore. Quartararo, for me, is the interesting one. He only really becomes realistic if Yamaha fully loses him and Ducati sees his value not just in his speed, but what it takes away from the other rivals. My prediction, Ducati will delay the decision as long as they can. Why? Because they always do. Ducati will choose the rider who gives them the best technical direction in the first half of 2026. Not the biggest name, not the most world titles, and not the loudest narrative. Because Ducati does not make decisions based on loyalty. It makes them based on advantage. And with the rule reset coming in 2027, the rider they choose for that important year will tell us exactly how Ducati sees the next era of MotoGP. But I'm interested in your thoughts. Do you think Who do you think I should ask will Ducati sign next to Marc Marquez if he stays on? Anyway, you let me know what you think makes the most sense. And more importantly, you tell me why it makes sense. Look, if you've enjoyed today's episode, then please give it a like, give it a share, or give us a subscription. And I look forward to talking to you again in the next episode. Okay, bye for now.